Now, in the many years we've had to endure the stupid Red Bull dominance, I think it's time you look at some other teams that have done well in the past. It's time to give them the spotlight, not Red Bull, not Verstappen, because at the moment I really couldn't give two flying about them.
We do not care.
Now, yes, that's not to say that other teams don't have the spotlight throughout the season, but usually it's for some bad reason. Such as Alpine this year. Where have they been? They think they're on a farm, they're mowing some lawn, they have a tractor as a car. That's how slow they are. It's honestly embarrassing.
Embarrassing!
So let's go through every single Formula 1 team's most dominant car. Or best car, because some teams haven't had any dominance ever. If you think I've missed anything out, put it down in the comments, but the video's done, so, you know, your opinion won't really count for anything. But still, I'll be looking at them, and whilst you're there, please subscribe and like. I don't know why you wouldn't, because ideas have to be done They will be done eventually, so join me, join the journey. Hope you enjoy the video. Now, I think it's only fair if we start with the shittest team of all time, and that's Haas. They've had their certain highs, and they've had many, many, many lows. A team in which throughout the whole history in Formula 1, since 2016, have pretty much every single season looked like the Alpine 2024 car. Absolute boat, tractor, truck, everything. But with that slight slander out of the way, they've had one good to moderately alright car. And that's the 2018 car, where in the Constructors they finished 5th, which for Haas's standards, that is like winning a world championship by 1,000 points from P2. It's not meant to happen. They had two pretty incompetent drivers behind the wheel in Kevin Magnussen and Romain Grosjean. Rumour has it that Romain Grosjean still thinks that Ericsson hit him till this day.
I think Ericsson hit us.
And Kevin Magnussen, well, let's just say he peaked in his first race, and ever since then, it's been absolutely totally downhill. Grosjean's start to the season went as swimmingly as Mazepin's in 2021. Magnussen was slightly better, and then, you know, throughout the season kind of pulled it back. But Grosjean did score a P4, which is, I guess, you know, respectable. They had one fastest lap as well. Fair enough. 93 points, I guess that's better to the 12 they scored last year, and 0 they scored in 2021, so fair play. But still, sell your team, Gene Haas. Your team is so bad. Gonna flip the script here from one of the worst teams ever in Formula 1 to arguably one of the best. And that is Red Bull. And no doubt about it, their most dominant or bestest ever car. 2023, yeah, I think we all remember that season. It literally happened, what, 5 minutes ago? But it felt like 75 years because, it was so boring to watch. Pain just ran through my veins every single race.
Boring!
Red Bull won 21 out of the 22 races. And the only race they didn't win, Singapore, they went wrong with the setup or something. That's the only race they didn't win. Verstappen won 19 of those 21, and Perez 2. And no driver issues from Verstappen. But then if you're Perez, you pretty much had one every other race weekend, or on some multiple times a weekend. Japan comes to mind when he was, 5 laps down on everyone else? Kind of embarrassing. In the fastest car and you're 5 laps down? You're kind of bad. I think a 95% win rate says it all. And now in 2024, they've won 3 of the first 4 races. And the race where Red Bull didn't win, Verstappen had, well, he blew up. And Perez being Perez, he can't even score a podium, so that's that. But I think we can all say that Adrian Newey has been cooking some stew that is unbeatable, unmatchable by even Gordon Ramsay's standards. Somebody has to nerf Red Bull. I mean, yes, they have Perez. That is a big, big nerf in itself. But Adrian Newey, cut off his head. Make him less good of Verstappen. Cut off his left wrist. Something, please, please. 2020 might have been a shorter Formula 1 season with just 17 races, but that's not gonna stop Mercedes from producing an absolute demon monster of a vehicle. 13 wins, 15 poles in 17 races. Hamilton also won his 7th World Drivers' Championship.
And is a 7-time champion of the world!
Get in there, Lewis!
Not only is the car mind-blowingly fast going flat out through Poole, which is not unheard of, but it's also mind-blowing that a team that is that good at producing such good cars for so many years goes ahead in 2022, 2023, 2024, and produces an absolute boat of a vehicle. thinking they're Noah's Ark. They think they need to float on water. I don't know what they're doing. They have no downforce, no straight line speed, can't compete for podiums, can't compete for any good points. Soon enough, in a couple years, they're going to be battling the Haas's, the Alpines, the Sabas. In P19, P20, Mercedes, the big tank of everything, has crumbled down. Oh, and also, should we not mention that one of the races Hamilton didn't even attend to? He was like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna stay at home and relax. Yes, he had COVID. George Russell stepped in, and let's be real, he was gonna win the race, but...
Looks like a rear left puncture. Looks like rear left puncture.
And after that, Hamilton came back pouncing in at Abu Dhabi for the last race. Now, yes, he didn't win, which, you know, is that foreshadowing 2021? Easy P1 in the Constructors, easy win for Hamilton, 7 World Drivers' Championships, fair enough. Gotta sprinkle some more copium into this video because Ferrari haven't won a single championship since 2007. Yeah. Ferrari being Ferrari, that is very, very embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
Knowing that they had Sebastian Vettel, Alonso, Charles Leclerc, and now Hamilton's gonna be attending the Ferrari cuck machine. And will he get over just like all of them? Probably because he's old, bald, and soon in a walking stick, in a wheelchair, not being able to move. But Ferrari's most dominant or greatest ever vehicle that they've produced, which they haven't been able to replicate ever since because, well, they did maybe in 2007, but, in 2004, but, I've gone with the 2002 Scuderia Ferrari Beauty. Now, not only did they manage to more than double P2 in their constructors' standings, of course, they got P1, it's Ferrari, or back then, because now they can't do that for shit. 221 points compared to Williams BMW in P2 with only a mere 90-some. Pathetic. Also that year, Schumacher didn't step off the podium. Every single race, my guy was on the podium all the time, never failed, always there, and on every single other occasion, bar one, except for one. If he didn't win and finished P2, it was Rubens Barrichello, his teammate, where he scrapped up the points and managed to win. Tell that to Perez, because Perez can't do that to save his Formula 1 race career. Race seat in Red Bull, anything. The V10 back then sounded beautiful. The livery was nice, the drivers were actually competent and knew how to turn left and right, go straight, brake, everything that you'd want from a driver, it was there. 15 wins, 28 podiums, 11 pole positions out of 19 races. Please, next year will be our year, right? Please, next year, or even this year if you pull it together, next year will be our year, please. I think it's time yet again for us to put a pause on the glory. Hold up. And look at another team that, well, they've been around for a while, but haven't managed to do anything with their lives. So they decided to sell to Audi, which I guess is a good thing. And yes, I'm talking about Saba. And the best probably ever Saba car that has come out of the Saba factory was the 2007 car. Now, no, they didn't win, or they weren't the greatest. They finished second in the Constructors' Championship, behind Ferrari. And sorry, before you start crying, where is McLaren? Oh yeah, down at the bottom, so shh, calma. Oh no. Now yes, they weren't the second best car on track because McLaren was there, but they got disqualified from the Constructors because of a certain event. Sticky one. But the third best car, honestly, Saba would take that any day in this day and age, and that back then, that was good. Nick Highfield behind the wheel and Robert Kubica, the GOAT which never actually got to show his real true pace in Formula 1. Quite unfortunate. They scored a sprinkle of podiums. By a sprinkle, I literally mean only 2. No wins, no poles, no nothing. But it was for Sauber, steak, Formula 1 team, steak. It was good, let him be. But they secured more P4 finishes than the amount of times that Nikita Mazepin managed to spin in 2021. And that's impressive. And now back onto some winning ways. Because I want to talk more about some good, actual good F1 cars. No one really cares about P2 finish, do they? If you're not winning, then who the cares? Recently, I picked this up, and you know, McLaren, they haven't been the greatest in the last couple years, especially what, 2017, 16.
The engine was going much slower than before.
Absolute boats, GP2 engine. GP2 drivers, except for Alonso. But in the year of 1988, the Stone Ages, some would even say, they had an absolute machine, rocket ship of a car. 16 races in the entire season, they won 15 of them. They got 15 pole positions in the entire season. They had 2 competent drivers, very competent, the best ever, arguably, some would argue, Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. Now yes, they weren't the best of friends, but neither are Alonso and Hamilton. And they have gone separate ways, but both insane drivers. 199 points in the entire season compared to P2 Ferrari with only a mere 65. That is embarrassing for Ferrari yet again. It seems like throughout their whole history, they either win or they're just embarrassing to look at. Senna snatched the championship in no controversial way by 3 points. And yes, it's also on my wall. I have a lot of pictures, so yeah. 2006, the year of the dog, Chinese reference, and the year where Schumacher thought he was the king, but Alonso was like, nah, I'm the king.
You think you're the king? I'm the king!
And he won the championship. Wow, with Renault. In the constructors, Renault scored 206 points compared to Ferrari's mere embarrassing 201. Now yes, not much in it, but it's Renault. Like, the cars they produce these days, what? The Alpine, the 2024 absolute tractor. Slower than a unicycle, slower than a toddler riding a bike on stabilizers through a field of mud. That's how slow the Alpine is. It's incomprehensible. It's awful. And for the second time in their career, in 2006, they actually produced a somewhat good car. And they had one competent driver in Fernando Alonso and another moderate driver in Fisichella. Fernando Alonso being Fernando Alonso, of course, he put it through the works, drove it through hell and back, and secured that big dub for the second time in his career. And he hasn't managed to replicate that ever since. So is he washed? No. But yeah, his career choices haven't been the greatest, have they, since then? In 18 races, Renault managed 8 wins and 7 pole positions, which is good because it's Renault. Like, come on, man. But it seems like all of their engineers, mechanics, and everything to do with the team back then have retired or fallen asleep because their cars now are literally the polar opposite of what they were back then. Alonso hasn't gone anywhere because he's still on a dominant run and will be until he's 75, retiring, or something else. But the French back then were as proud of Alonso's dominations, or not dominations, but you know, success, as they were with their world domination. And you know what? Fair enough. Honestly, incredible for Renault to win 2 championships. In this day and age, everyone would have to retire from the race, except for the 2 Alpines, and still then there's a chance where Pierre Gasly doesn't even make it past the first lap. And now RB, Alpha Tauri Toro Rosso if you're a real Giga Chad. Now would it shock you if I were to say that RB, Toro Rosso, Alpha Tauri have never won a championship? No, probably not. Because, you know, all of you are pretty much competent, right? So they haven't had a dominant car ever, you know? But their best car most probably, was their 2020-2021 car. Now yes, P6 in the constructor standings, oh well, boo-hoo-hoo, no one cares. But in that year, it was a good year. The car was fast, the car was good, it looked good, it was good, Pierre Gasly was good, but it's a shame that every single thing ever in life, there has to be an anchor weighing it down. And now Yuki might not be the heaviest driver, but he was a massive anchor in 2021, pretty much equaling the amount of times Nikita Mazepin managed to crash out in the season. And honestly, 32 points in a good car compared to what? Pierre Gasly's 100 plus? Yes, he was a rookie, but still, if Pierre Gasly's teammate was a competent driver back then, surely they would have bumped probably Alpine. A double of podiums, by a double I literally mean just one fastest lap, and a lot of consistent point finishes. Now yes, a lot of retirements for Yuki Tsunoda as well, but as I said, a good competent driver, more points. In 2024, I honestly thought that RB would cook more than Gordon Ramsay. But no, Ricciardo can't score a point to save his life, so yeah, GG, career over. GG's, bro! Time to go to NASCAR. In recent years, let's be real, they've been down the slope, but they kind of brought it back in 2023, but yet again, 2024 rocks around, and they're off. I don't know how Logan Sargent, Latifi, have even had a chance in this sport, but I guess they're making their bread, so fair play. But back to the copium. 1992 was probably ever Williams' best ever season. 10 wins out of 16 in 1992, which was fantastic. If they weren't winning, they were scoring P2s, P3s, and that was pretty much it. Maybe a P5 and retirement throughout all of the other races. 164 points they won the championship with, compared to a measly P2's 99, and that was McLaren. Of course, Nigel Mansell won the championship, which, genius of a driver, and in P2, Riccardo Patrese, which I guess You know, not a lot of people know about him, but he was good. Like, he was all right. He was a good driver. That car honestly stood on business. It was incredible. Shane Williams can't replicate that now. And yet again, another nerd moment. And now finally we have Aston Martin. And Aston Martin, they haven't had a good car. Well, they haven't had a dominant car, should I say, ever. But 2023 has to have been their best car, which they've had in a long while. Now, yes, they did finish 5th in the constructor standings, but it was with, you know, Alonso, yet again, a genius of a driver, and a real moron in Lance Stroll. And we all know he's only in the sport because Daddy has his cash, Daddy has the team, and out of 22 races, they scored 8 podiums, or I say they, singular human in Fernando Alonso, because there's no shot Lance Stroll is even getting on the podium. No way. Honestly, there's not much to say about this car. They had a good first half of the season, and then they fell off. But it's just a alright season, P5 in the standings. Meh.
I mean, it's all right, like.
Anyway, that concludes, well, everything. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe and like, please join me on the journey, please. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a good day. Have a good day. Peace.